1, 2, 3.
I'm joined here today by my amazing
That's right.
older sister. Oh, she's loving it. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing older sister and her husband.
Oh,
Recently married as well.
Yes.
Come on, wedding was lit.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
amazing people. And yeah, I've just been watching them do absolute numbers of the last year, over a year now, in terms of their business, in terms of their growth, their development, from doing small events to now doing weddings and being called out to like various different corporate events to cater for various people. And they're in that sort of catering space, and it's all sort of like different like finger foods and just amazing things, because we love ordering it ourselves even though we don't pay, and I know we should. And the business is called SNACKATIZER. SNACKATIZER. So
Snack at ease.
Snack at ease,
Yeah,
I like that.
Snack at ease.
Snack
yeah.
at ease. Okay.
Snack
Can
at
you guys
ease,
tell us a little bit
There
more
we
about
go.
SNACKATIZER? Give us a little introduction about
Should I start?
Yeah,
Because I
of
love
course, man,
talking.
yeah.
Little
We know
intro,
you're
name and all that.
You ready for this?
Hello. So I am Wumi. I am, as what my business partner calls me, I'm the head chef at SNACKATIZER.
Remember that.
Yeah, just the head chef. He calls me just the head chef. So we started. Should I even go to the history, or you want to introduce yourself as well? I'm the head chef of SNACKATIZER.
Okay. Well, I'm Abs. I am the CEO.
Cheese.
COO, CFO.
Mozu man.
CTO. See yourself later.
COO.
I am SNACKATIZER, so I hire Wumi to run the business for me, just in a head chef capacity. Right, yeah. On a rolling contract.
Continue. We founded SNACKATIZER, I think, off the basis of my love for cooking. Obviously, as Ola introduced, I'm his sister, his one and only sister. I've got 3 amazing but troublesome brothers. So I grew up in a house. I grew up in a household of, me constantly trying to constantly be in the kitchen with mom, cooking and stuff like that. So that has always been my passion. But I feel with SNACKATIZER, we are solely based on just focusing on canapes and finger foods. And for me, that was just easier. Our parents are massive hosts in terms of doing things for parties, Christmases and stuff like that. Anytime you'd hear any sort of noise or music, it's from my parents' place. Yeah. So we were just used to the whole frying of puff and spring rolls and having loads of friends around with like loads of drinks and things. So that's what drew me to the whole snacking, the whole canapes and stuff like that. So I think one day, I hosted my brothers at my home in Essex once again, and Abs was like, why don't we go into this, like into a business? You're always doing this, we've always got friends coming over and stuff like that, so why don't we try and focus on that? And the end goal is always that you could put your mind and focus into a business so that you can end up doing that full time. Nobody wants to do that whole 9 to 5. So yeah, and why not do something that you enjoy doing as well? I enjoy being in the kitchen. For me, it's therapeutic. I find it very, very therapeutic, just having the steam. But for him, he's like, I call him the professional taster, so that is what he is to me. But yeah, so that's
Stresses me out.
yeah. So we've been running that. It will be 2 years in February. So yeah, we're very grateful for the journey and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of how it was birthed, and that's
In terms of my own personal inspiration for it, I think I've just kind of had ever since I was at university, I wanted to we used to go to this spot. There was this Nigerian restaurant we used to go to, and I just felt the place was really nice, but I just personally felt like they could work more towards the maybe the decor, the service, what they brought forward to us. And from that kind of time, I always wanted to sort of own a restaurant and offer something what I consider to be quality, that kind of thing. So obviously when I met Wumi, who does provide quality in terms of the food that she does, and she's an excellent chef, as your brother will testify to as well. So it just kind of fit, basically. It just kind of fit.
You saw opportunity. You see how you could position it.
Exactly. So I've got this particular passion in terms of I've always wanted to like own a restaurant or something in the future. That remains the goal to date. and it's something that we're working obviously towards in the future as well. And obviously she knows what she's doing around the kitchen, and she knows she knows how to produce all like that. So yeah.
So what was your cooking skills like beforehand?
No, well, he's on mine.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go in the microwave.
Oh.
Basic.
Nah, there's no. I ain't got time for none of that.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't cook it. I don't know. I cook anything now.
Lazy,
literally, man. Everything's microwave.
Horrible.
So I needed her. So it just fit perfectly. So so we're where we are now, based on that sort of mutual.
I like the way it's evolved. Like it's a more naturally sort of business venture, as a sense of, some people go, oh, I need to create an idea, I need to do something. It's just something that's kind of sits in line of what you was doing. You was hosting, having people come in, and you was like, hold on, we could actually do this. We can commercialize this. We can actually, go to certain events, make certain networks, and 2 years later, I'll be sitting on a sofa with your brother, talking about your journey.
I want to jump on this sofa.
I knew it was just timing. It was timing, but you know what? I do want to kind of ask this question in terms of, because I've seen glimpses of it, and there's been times when obviously Wumi has called me and sort of said, actually, you know what? This last gig we did, it was a madness. How has the journey been? And part of the reason I ask is because I feel like there's so much of a movement now of leave the 9 to 5, start a business, but people don't always talk about the reality. Everyone talks about revenue, no one talks about profit and tax and the reality of a business. Like the real, like everyone just sees the Instagram posts and pictures, and I know you get the DMs of like, this looks good, but I'm there with you at 5 a.m. setting up, and I'm like, this is long. Again, no one sees that. Everyone sees the nice things. So like, tell us about like, obviously some of the really highs when you've done events and people are like, women, this was amazing, I'm crying, and at the same time, tell us about the not so great times when maybe a customer's complained or you're pissed off at a customer because they want everything food when it's not even ready.
I think I definitely say in terms of business and stuff, like on the short journey that we've been on, there have definitely been high and lows. I think in terms of highs, we've had a few events, like be it birthday parties, weddings as well, where the couple they've provided like amazing feedback. Guests have literally requested, I want to know who made XYZ because I love this, your presentation and stuff like that, and that definitely gives us a boost. I'll give you like a wonderful example. We kind of want to go into the whole like Gray's table idea. We're just trying to merge the whole commercial idea of like Gray's tables and incorporate hot food into it. So we recently did that for a first birthday party, and the mother of the little girl that turned 1, she literally burst out into tears when she saw what we had done. So that was amazing. It was a last minute order. I was stalking so many people's pages on Instagram, Google, just to try and sort of pick up ideas.
Inspiration, right? Yeah.
I wanted it to be so perfect. And I knew it wasn't as good as all the other people in like Australia and America, but we really put our all into it, and Abs as well. It was somewhere so far away. And as soon as she saw it, she was like, you went above and beyond.
Yes, that's what it's about.
Called us later on in the evening and said, oh my God, this is amazing, it's amazing. So that in itself, it gives us the inspiration to push on. So when you have like broken nails, I broke my nail, Abs cut his hand, hot oil will spill on you, but when you get that feedback in the end, it makes it worthwhile. But then there have been instances, I think there was one time we did an event and I called Ola, like, oh, come and help me. He was there in his suit. He was coming from work. You're stressing me out.
I remember that. Man, we didn't leave till like 1 a.m.
We didn't leave till 1. It was during a week or whatever. We both had work the next day. I put in my all because I left work as well. And it was somewhere really, really central as well. And at the end of it, the feedback wasn't great. Oh, this was cold and I wasn't happy with this. And it was circumstances that were out of our control. We had placed the food out. Guests were being too shy. They didn't want to touch the food. And that's what happens. Eventually, they were running late as well. So obviously, there was no point of us putting food out if people are not there. But by the time we try to put it out, you can't keep warming food and cooling it down and warming it up because people can get food poisoning and stuff like that. So it was stuff that wasn't in our control. But as far as they was concerned, we hadn't done a great job. But that's upsetting because in my mind, I have taken my brother out of his normal routine to come and help me. My other siblings as well came as well. I've taken myself out of my normal routine to come and do this. And it wasn't even worth my while in terms of finances as well. The customer was young. So that we went back to the drawing board after that, we need to stick to our prices so that it makes it worth our while and stuff like that. And then just build up on the feedback as well. Okay, let's even say that the person was being picky. What can we do next time to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again?
Have to take that on board,
so that's why sometimes we add disclaimers like, if you're not here on time and you don't do this, then this is going to be the consequence. Your food may be a little bit cold, but it's not going to be our fault. You know,
That's
thing.
why having people that are understanding. They
Yeah.
know that if you tell us a certain time, we will be ready for that time. We'll
Yeah.
have food ready for that time. Now, if you keep us posted early enough that you're going to be late, or this running late that the bride and groom are still at the registry or whatever.
Communication, really. It's just clear lines of communication.
Yeah, but we can manage that. But if you don't, you tell us a certain time, we work towards that time, and then no one's there, and we put the food out. I mean, by the time they get there, unfortunately, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
It's completely out of our control. But if you tell us, if you're keeping us posted, okay, we'll delay things a bit for you and that kind of thing, so that when it does go out, then everything is,
So I think it's effective communication. I think that's what we've picked up in terms of good and bad occurrences, that if there's effective communication and we communicate correctly, then things will work in your favor and it'll be great. But if you don't communicate with us, then you're going to have instances like
Makes
that.
it a challenge, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's it's always a challenge. You know,
Yeah.
some people don't call me too much, I'm tired, or you tell this brother and the brother's not there, so you're talking to the planner and the planner doesn't know what's going on. So I feel like communication ties in both the good and the bad. I think,
I think what was it? There was the time when it was a wedding. And I think they had the morning chops and maybe the evening chops or something like that. And there's a lot of guests, and then the guests, I don't know what happened, but they were just on top of us in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, yeah, that was.
It was
oh
a
my
health
Lord.
hazard.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was literally a health
that was
hazard.
insane.
Was this the one when, because I remember my youngest brother came home and I won't even they were just laughing at you. Like, apparently they were like, you flipped, and they've never seen you flip. Apparently you were like, auntie.
Wow.
So
I
basically,
did
so
that.
you guys were fighting.
Yeah, so basically it was
They
the
were
couple.
there
The
on
couple,
top of us.
yeah, the couple
My
were
God.
amazing, but they had told us, these are the amount of people that we want you guys to feed, and we came prepared. And as a typical business as well, we don't want to do things that, okay, you're going to think that 100 people are going to turn up, you're only going to provide 100 spring rolls or whatever, we'd all provide a little bit more.
Yeah.
So the
always
evening,
careful,
I think the
of course.
evening party, we were told it was going to be 200 people, but 400 people came. And we were talking 400 hungry people as well, to the point whereby people came into the kitchen. They were leaning on Abs and over the hot oil. He was frying spring rolls. They weren't even allowing him to fully cook the chicken wings. They were like,
What would they do? What, they were like
They wanted food.
Is it ready, yeah?
They was literally
in the
Yeah,
kitchen
in
waiting
the
for
kitchen,
it.
like,
They want it hot.
space that was between
So I think the
us
oil
and
was
the-
dripping onto their plates, but they were so the
Aye.
MC came in, security, like, you guys.
Eventually
MC
we had
came
to
in
get-
and said,
yeah.
"This is not McDonald's. Everybody needs to be in the
Get
kitchen."
out.
There was the queue was like this, like, so wide, and also leading all the way up.
No, the food was that good, man. No,
Yeah, I
no,
was
no,
gonna say,
no.
your food was
You should have
popping,
put you should have put that on the gram. Be like, look,
People are willing to burn
food.
their fingers. That's how good our food is.
Their marketing there.
Even when we managed to get them out of the kitchen, I think they were literally waiting just outside the
Yeah.
doors. They were waiting, and it's like
homeless shelter. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. When you think of that concept,
Feeding
yeah.
time.
as soon as you open the door,
They're just hands,
they were
yeah,
just-
Black Friday sales.
take theirs and go. That kind of thing. It was crazy.
Oh, man.
It was a long day because, like I
It
said, we
was.
did the morning chops and the
We were the
evening chops
first
as
people
well.
to get there. We
So,
were the last people. So I think those are like the obstacles. Those are the things that people do not see on Instagram. People see the end product, the way we've displayed it nicely and stuff like that. But that day, Abs, I'd never seen Abs in that sort of scenario. It was really, really upsetting.
were on
There
our
were
feet
people
for like
threatening
13
my brother
hours.
as well, because he didn't want to give them a plate because he had ordered him not to do particular things and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I think that's a side that people do not see.
that's the challenge.
It's
Isn't
a challenge, yeah.
Essentially, that particular event, if I remember correctly, we were supposed to. We had the couple had paid for, I think, a certain amount of items. The idea was that they wanted the food to all come out really nicely plated, all the items on there, right? That kind of thing. And they were supposed to go out to all the tables, and everyone, because they were in the kitchen queuing up on top of us, asking for this. No, this isn't just for me. It's for me and 10 people at my table.
We had to change the tax.
Special order.
No.
We had to change the
Eventually, we
tax.
couldn't display how we wanted to display it, which would have been
Yeah.
obviously good for business for us as well in terms of
Social media.
this is what we do, social media, blah, 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 for you to see it. No, it ended up being people just in the kitchen with their plates out.
Hungry.
getting food,
Yeah.
Hungry and angry at the same time.
You've now
Hungry.
got like a
Exactly.
10-hour shift and you've got no picture evidence, no
there
video.
was
no
no time,
time,
there was no
man.
things, there was no time
So
for
I think
social
that's the
media, there
sad-
was nothing.
that's
And
the-
that's that side.
That's the down of
Yeah.
of the journey so far. So like, there's something that there's two sides of it. So you started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At what point did it feel like a business? What point did it feel like you had to structure it right, like getting it set up as a company and then starting thinking about the health and safety and all those sort of aspects? Like, was that from the get-go, or was it more of like, all right, we're going to do this for family, we're going to do this for friends, and then boom?
I think it's 50-50. I think when we first started the business, we registered everything. We did everything like the right way. So we did like the food and healthy certificates. We got the public liability.
Tell people about that, because some people are just,
So
I'm doing chops. Yeah. There's hair in the food. Mine not.
It tastes good though.
I think with us, before we did the public liability and everything, we wanted to do a few food fairs. So a few events like wedding events, wedding fairs and stuff like that.
Just to get
sample.
And then
get a feel for
a
it,
lot
see
of the
if it's
feedback
something
that
we want to do
a lot of the
as well.
people that we spoke to in terms of like the admin staff said, for you to be able to exhibit at these events, you need to have public liability and food and health and safety certificates. And I was like, but I know how to cook food. I'd wear my hair there. Like, what's the problem?
It goes way beyond
Then
that,
I think what struck to me was when we wanted to do a particular event at the Highlands House. It's like some beautiful estate in Essex, and they were like, no, you need to have your food rating from the Food Standard Agency, FSA. You need to have like literally rated by your council. It's like, what's that? By the time I did research on it, I was like, okay, without this, I can't do events at any of the big venues. Like you're talking Hilton, you're talking Radisson Blu. I couldn't. So that to me was like, oof, we need to do it.
Yeah.
So by the time I filled out the documents, it was like 92 pages. You had to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I sat back and I was like, oh my God, is it even worth it? But I thought to myself, the end goal where we'd be able to do events would be far greater. So let me just bite the bullet and do that. And I think by the time we paid for the public liability and we did some courses and stuff like that, we had the council come round as well.
What, to your kitchen?
Come round to my kitchen. He opened my cupboards. What cleaning products am I using and stuff like that? Where am I putting the food rubbish? Where am I buying the food from? It allowed me to just gain a better insight into what I was doing. Like, am I truly ready? But at the same time, everybody loves food. Everybody eats food. But at the same time, if something goes wrong, so many people can fall ill. With that research, I found out about the whole stuff about allergies and stuff like that. Taking that much more serious. Just because I don't have an allergy or people in my family don't have it, doesn't mean that other people do not have it. Being careful about the way you prepare food, your environment and stuff like that. If a kitchen is not up to a particular standard, we're always kind of like, we can't work here, or they need to make sure that they have sorted X, Y, and Z before we can work there. Because if not, no one's going to think, oh, the kitchen wasn't nice. They're going to think we ate her food and, I ended up
from that
kitchen, that kind of thing. So I think from the beginning, because we weren't able to do a few things, it pushed us to do things right legally. But I feel like in terms of feeling the business, it wasn't until this year. I think last year was more like a nice little ride, when you get
last year was like, I think, when did we get our first wedding? We started in February. Our very first wedding was, I think, September. Yeah. Maybe last year that we did a few events prior to that. Obviously,
just
we did
like
birthdays, small events. We did a few wedding fairs as well. I mean, I can say that this year we haven't had to do a wedding fair.
Okay, the transition.
We've had to turn them down.
We've had no time to do events. People come to us about sponsorships. Unfortunately, we've had to turn down a few. We've done a few. We had to turn down a few as well because we just had no time. We've had gigs throughout, and we're constantly the DM.
Demand's there though. That's what I like to hear.
Constantly, Wumi is a very busy woman, so I have to look after the other side of the business, the finances and everything.
Oh, here we go.
Make sure everything's been run smoothly.
That's right.
And stuff like that. But yeah, to be honest, like it's been a great second year. In the beginning, like
it didn't really feel it.
And the very first fair we went to, I think it was more tailored towards Caucasian people, I believe, if I remember correctly. And I remember because I think there's a picture or a video from the table we set up at that first event, and it was literally just, I think, 3 pieces of paper on the table and like 3 plates of food
and a pen.
And there was so much space on that table.
And a pen.
So when I'm upset,
you're like, wow, this is what we went with.
But
look at the presentation.
But
paper plates from Poundland.
It's interesting because I remember kind of when you posted something recently on your WhatsApp, and I remember because I think I called you and I was like, Wumi, no, the growth has been crazy. Because I remember like the first time they did events, it was just like, I was like, are you sure you don't want to put anything else on the table? I remember these time like, there's just one plate, there's one spring roll, like sure. I'm like, how are they getting customers? But I remember Wumi posted recently and I had to call you because I was like, Wumi, because I thought you got it off Instagram. Like what you showed me was amazing. Like it had the fruit, you had the snacks, like the table looked full, like it looked healthy, and I was just like, this is testament to your growth and all you've like done. This is testament to your development. And what I respect about you guys is that you don't just take the money and spend it. You take the money and then Wumi's like, I've bought new catering
well,
equipment,
reinvest.
display equipment. I'm getting training on photography so I can make my stuff look better.
Yeah.
You're constantly pouring back into yourself as
yeah,
well.
to
So I guess
develop us, so.
off of that vein, what would you say have been some of the biggest learning lessons in terms of the business, one another, and just the growth? Because we've seen it, so there's obviously been lessons there.
In terms of the growth, I'll take the ones about the growth. Like, honestly, I'd have to give all the 100% of the credit to this woman. I swear to God.
Brap.
I swear to God, man. The amount of work
She's getting gas, man.
the amount of work that she puts into this business, it's crazy, man. Literally, like someone that she needs to be up by 7 a.m., 6:30, whatever, to go to work, start work at 8:30 or something. She won't be in bed sometimes till like 3 a.m. just doing research,
dedication,
doing research, planning, setting up the table for the event on the next week or whatever to see what it needs to look like, putting the flowers out.
So you actually run like little demos out?
This is why I
I do.
yeah, this is what I want this table to look like. She'll put everything out, place it how she wants it to ride.
Yeah,
the flowers,
I like
everything.
that.
It's crazy. The amount of dedication, the work that she puts in. She's also the same person that will finish work and be out buying all the ingredients and stuff as well, running to Costco, Macro, wherever she needs to go to get all the stuff that we need to use. She's the one doing it, and she does it constantly. There's been days where we have, like a Saturday, for example, we have an event in the morning, we have an order in the morning, then we're catering an event in the afternoon, that kind of stuff. She'll be up till whatever Friday night, preparing, making sure that Saturday morning isn't as tough, but we still have to prep for the other event as well. So she might not sleep till 5 a.m. She'll go to bed maybe 2 hours, be back up at 7. Do this. We need to be out, and then you're on your feet for another 12 hours before you go home and just relax. So honestly, seriously, man,
Relentless.
She's amazing in terms of this is her. This business, it is her. She's so good at what she does.
So she be like CEO,
God bless you.
CFO, CTO.
Basically, she can't be trusted with money. So after that side of things, there's a history of swindling.
When I saw HMRC,
are
I
listening.
screamed.
Hey, when taxes come through, you're like, what do you do?
Exactly.
What do you?
So I handle all that side of things.
He's good with the money. I think that's what. Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I think in reference to your question, I think it's all about teamwork and not being afraid to ask for help. I think in this industry, I've come out of my shell and I've gone out to people there are people on Instagram, I've never met them before. And I've seen their work, you commend them, and I think it's all about uplifting other people.
Yes.
You know what, you're amazing, you're good at this, I'm going to ask you for help.
Yes.
So I think when I felt like, what we could do better on photography or the way we style food and the way we speak to customers, I spoke to those individuals on Instagram. And now I can genuinely say they are good friends of mine. I recently went to a supper club of a wonderful lady that runs her food business as well on Instagram.
What's her name? Give her a little plug.
Yeah, come on, shout.
Shola J, a Frisian as well.
Shola.
She's amazing. Literally, she's an amazing hard worker. Literally, I've spoken to her so many occasions. Catherine from Pretty Delicious Eats as well. She's amazing with styling, food photography, my active kitchen as well. She's helped me on photography tips and stuff like that. So I think it's about not being afraid to ask for help, because you're gonna need people's help. Nobody knows everything, and you can't do this alone as well. Abs is good in terms of, like, let's say the finances. Like I said, I run away from HMRC, but he'll deal with all of that kind of stuff. And I'm good in the kitchen, but there's always somebody that would have done this before.
Walk that path.
All of that. So, I think, constantly learning as well. So it's just about research. And if you know that this person is strong in that, why not? The worst that they could ever say to you is, no, I don't have your time, I can't do this. And you just go on to the next person. So I definitely say, if not because of the help of people on the Instagram network, then we wouldn't be where we are today, literally. And then obviously that support from friends and family and stuff like that. So you need the critique of friends and family. Like, I'd always ask Abs. I think when we started Snackatizer, I didn't really, really know how to make puff puff. I just used to just blag it. So he had a runny stomach for so many days and weeks. Because it's runny in the middle or it's burnt and this and that. But YouTube has been a massive help. People on Instagram, so I go to my mom, like, what can I do? Help me, blah, 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 blah. If I'm trying to set up a table, I'd call Ola or I'll ask my brothers, does this look good? How does this look? Blah, blah, blah. Help me taste it or whatever. You need the support of people around you as well. So I definitely say, so not being afraid to ask for help. You can't do it all on your own.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because for me, that's the kind of piece around vulnerability. I remember when you first started, I know you were a little bit hesitant to sort of reach out.
Yeah,
and I've noticed
definitely.
that about a lot of people. And you know, you sometimes would assume that they might not help. And I was like, again, maybe because we've got a podcast and then we've asked, and you know, I've asked out for help from people, and it's like people are usually more willing. It's just human nature to be helpful. So for having that vulnerability and their strength and vulnerability to say, you know what, I don't have all the answers. I need help. Can you help me? Can you assist? Can you guide? Are you free on this day? How did you take your great pictures? And you've seen the result of that. Like you mentioned, social media has come through. There are amazing people that you've mentioned who've been able to support and guide you. And it's like you're watching them grow, they're watching you grow, and you're all just on your respective journey. So it's just, honestly, it's nice to see, man. And I'm so excited for like the next couple years. And like you guys mentioned, like a restaurant.
That's the end goal. That's the end goal for me.
And just on that, is that like any location in particular, just a restaurant? Like, what's the idea?
Research is ongoing.
Don't talk too much.
But look, I mean, in terms of where we are at the moment, obviously we're based in Basildon, Essex. Obviously we cover London and surrounding areas and everything anyway. But we're based in Basildon and looking around Basildon, let's say for now, just as a early days of it. But there's not much in terms of what we do around that area and any restaurants that sell like chops and that kind of food. So, and Basildon right now, there's more and more like black people entering the community as well. So that would be a nice little area if we're thinking about if we're thinking about that kind of thing. Potentially, that's an area that we can look at. But you know, it's still early days. We're still sort of researching. We're still looking around. We're working with one of my very close friends who's a business analyst as well in terms of what do we need? Where do we go about this? Also, we have another guy who owns a store and a restaurant now, Apex as well. It's someone that we go to for advice, that kind of thing, and he's the one that tells you how he begun, how he started, and how he got to where he is now. Just about essentially just pushing the boat out and just literally taking that leap, which is exactly what we did. And hopefully, if you watch the space within the next few years, there will be something coming by God's grace.
Now I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
Exciting, definitely.
And then something we sort of mentioned before we went on camera, and I had this conversation in sort of like little pieces, time and time again. But I guess there's this sort of aspect of, I sort of mentioned it as entitlement, but again, I know some people might identify it differently. But it's that again, and we've had conversations about this before, me, where you get customers who maybe because they're also female, or because they're Nigerian, or because they're black, or just some people just naturally feel entitled, where they'll call you and sort of say, I know you set the price at, let's say, £200, but come on, sis. Come on,
drop that line.
Fam. Give me that discount. And there's that kind of aspect of they feel entitled to just take, receive the value that you're given, because they know it has value, otherwise they wouldn't ask you for it, but not pay you your value. And obviously your time is worth money. Like you're not doing this for nothing. You're a business, and the reality is you're in business to make profit. That's you enjoy it, but that's what business is about. It's about turning over a profit. Can you talk about some of those experiences where people have come in and tried to, be a bit cheeky, let me say, and how you've responded?
Stress. I think because, like I said, Alex is like the professional taster, so I am the one that I deal with like the social media, the inquiries. I'm the contact center, literally. So I think in the first year it was difficult in terms of we were trying to find our feet. So and you always want to please everybody. You don't want to please that customer, because there used to be weekends in the summer, the winter, like, it's quiet, we've got no business, blah 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 blah. But literally, in layman's terms, as we started to grow our balls, we were like, do you know what? By the time I go to the shops and I buy this and I do that, my time has gone and money and stuff like that. In the beginning, I would definitely say it used to feel like it was the older generation. So you're talking mummies, aunties, they'd ask you for X, Y, and Z, and you'd say, it's £100, £200 or whatever, and they'll be like, they'll say something like, they'll say something like, they'll say, it's too expensive, you're trying to injure me, £200 for just spring rolls. But there's a lot of thought. It's spring rolls to you, but then by the time I dress it up and I make it look nice, I will buy nice garnish and stuff like that. You buy pretty like purple crest that you can only get from Spitalfields and little things like that. You know, that kind of stuff.
Levels.
You need a waiter to be able to present those spring rolls to you. By the time you add all of that up, then yeah, this is what
This
the
is
cost
why
is.
it's this
This
price.
is the reason why it's
Yeah.
this price. And then, you know, the worst thing that you'd ever hear or get is, oh, you know, I'll go to somebody else, they're cheaper. Or
That's fine.
You know, we had somebody that said that. They came to us, they said, I want to do this for my wedding. How much you charge? We gave her the price. You know what? We're already running an offer. You're going to get like 5 or 10% off, blah, blah, blah. It's expensive. I spoke to this person and this is how much they're going to charge. And when she showed me a picture of what that person was offering, I was like, oh my days. This is the reason why this person is that price.
You get what you pay
I'm
for.
not even trying to be cheeky kind of thing. And in my head, I was like, do you know what? Is ma, auntie, miss, or whatever. If you want to go with that person, I'm not forcing you. It's not by force or anything. Don't feel entitled or you have to stay with me. So I think in the beginning, it felt like it was the older generation. But now, some people, I don't know, it's like 50-50. You still do get that.
The important thing to know is that the prices that we set are intended to be competitive in terms of the market that we're in. I mean, we know it's a very saturated market. We know there's a lot of people out there that do something similar to what we do. We intend to provide as high a quality as possible. We intend to stand out. At the same time, we need to be profitable in terms of what we do. But we've never, I personally, and women wouldn't let me anyway, even if I wanted to, try to extort anyone. So when we put prices, like when we put, when someone comes and we tell them this is how much it isn't at all ever anything to try to put anyone out of pocket. No, we actually, most of our prices, our rates are generally lower than a lot of people that you get out there. So some people will come and say that this is what someone has given me in terms of rate, and we're like, to be honest, we'll be like, to be honest, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Abs is always,
I've told you guys to up it. You need to up it.
Yeah, because he's always telling me to up, but you know, as maybe it's like a female instinct, or because I genuinely always feel bad. I'm always like, oh, you know, Abs, just be nice. Abs always like, no. By the time you factor in fuel, your effort, woman, you're gonna have to wake up. Woman, you need to.
Because I'm the one that's gonna feel the brunt of it when you.
It's not worth it.
So I think that's been a difficult thing. Obviously, I've done research with regards to the people who are in the same field as me, what they charge, the people that have been in the game longer than I have as well. We have, sorry. So obviously, if I compare it to the older people versus the newer people who just started in the game, by the time I weigh out, okay, where we get our ingredients and stuff like that from, by the time we order XYZ, personalization and things like that, this is relatively how much we should be charging. If we want to run a discount, if we give them this amount off, how much are we going to get? Is it going to be worth our while? So we spend a lot of time, literally, you're talking, we both work in different fields. I'm in the NHS, he's a city guy. By the time we both get home and we have our dinner, every single night we're constantly sitting down doing our little brainstorms and our constant meetings as well. You know, I'll be on the phone to my brother, okay, we need to decide and do this, or how are we going to be able to reach to that goal or whatever. So a lot of time and effort have been put into things like pricing and stuff like that. But it's just
I think you're going to get that in any industry. If you're providing a service, someone's always going to find, or even if they know you on such a level, they're going to be like, all right, come on, sis. Can you drop off like £50, £100, whatever?
And to be honest, we always try to be reasonable.
Yeah.
Right. If you come to us and say this is the amount of people we want food for 500 guests or whatever, these are the items we want. Blah, 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 blah. We'll give you the normal price for that. But if we always ask you, okay, so what's your budget in terms of what you can work with? Now, if it's something that we can do, these are the items you want. This is the amount of people. This is how much it costs. If it's something that we can do reasonably,
that's what I mean. It's a quotation sort of relationship.
A situation that we believe in working with the customer as well, providing good customer service. If it's a situation whereby you ask for all these items, all these seafood items, blah blah blah, and for all these guests,
and you only give us £20
what you want to pay for it. We'll be realistic with you and say we can't do that. However, we can do maybe these other items instead. Because
the thing that you got to hammer in is just knowing your value and not compromising on it. And I think that's an important thing for a lot of people. Like, people take on extra jobs because of the potential that it could open up to new customers, everything like that. Yeah. You got to factor that in. But sometimes there are certain moments where it's going to be a cost to you, physically, financially, any particular aspect. And you have to say, this is my price. Yeah. Obviously, be competitive. Look at the market, see what's going on. Don't, try and add extra zero on it because I can. But I think it's a two-way street. People have to understand that, I've got a price, I've got a business. Yeah. And that's the thing that people kind of forget a lot of times. You're my boy, I've known you for 10 years. Come on. I've got a business. It takes me 20 hours just to do one event. People don't
feet for literally 13 hours in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
a full day
If it's a
event.
full day
You
event.
come home from work, you're having dinner, you're talking about what should we do next? When do you guys stop?
Exactly, that's the thing.
And that goes back to that point about
And then you want someone to come and be like, "Oh, can you take off 25%? Get out of here. Get out of here." Sorry. I got a question.
Yeah.
So I get that impression that, it's continuous. It's every day. Wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, talk business. How's that balance? Being real honest.
She doesn't have time for gym.
But you do, yeah?
I get it. I can do the spreadsheets from the gym. I can manage that more.
Yeah. Because well-being, general well-being, whether it be mental, physically, like how 2 years.
I definitely, for me, I think Abs knows me. I'm always screaming, it's me. That does everything. I definitely say it has taken a toll to a certain extent on my mental health in terms of me not having time for myself. I think when I think about the hours and the effort I pump into the business,
A lot.
Especially like, for example, this summer has been insane, especially like with planning our wedding and stuff like that. Then I looked back and I was like, I don't even have time to do my nails because I need to do X, Y, Z. It takes a toll on you, on your physical body. You're standing constantly. What sort of shoes are you going to wear? You'll break your nails. You're not able to do your hair because you're constantly cooking. Your clothes and your hair are going to smell of food and stuff like that. By the time you blink, you're back to work 7:30 on a Monday.
Yeah.
And because you don't have
grind.
that little that grind. So sometimes I think it's about taking time out and knowing when to say no. This year I can genuinely say we've had a few gigs whereby we've just analysed, we've not been on a date night, we've not been out with our friends, I've said no to way too many people. Do you know what? It's only for 20 people, I'm going to have to tell you no.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's painful because that greedy part of you wants to say, I want the money. But at the
Could do it
same
all.
time, I think because it has hit me a few times where I'm like, I'm just so drained. Literally, and I'm constantly having my mum scream at me, you need to make sure you rest.
Yes.
You need to make sure you rest. You need to make sure you rest. And it can be very, very stressful. By the time you do social media, you reply people's emails and DMs, you've got that fear of, if I don't reply that person within the next 2 hours, they're going to go to somebody else. It has happened before. Whereby I was at work, I didn't have access to my phone, I couldn't do something. And she was like, you took 2 hours to get back to me. I've gone to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's the constant fear, Or,
which is why we have to stay on top of that as well, which is,
it's insane. And like you said, you do a gig and by the time you realize that you fed 400 people when you're only supposed to feed 200, it takes a toll on you. You don't end up going to church. You don't see your family. There was
Sacrifices you're making.
But I know that the sacrifice in the end is going to be worth it. Like I said, when I look at Shola J's, the journey that she had taken as well, she said she wasn't able to go out with friends. She wasn't able to go out holidays, and she was in HR as well. But she said now when she looks at her journey, it was all worth it. So something's got to give, but at the same time, there are points whereby she's like, nope, kitchen is closed. I'm not taking any more orders. So I think it's about finding that balance and just knowing when to say no. But I definitely say in the second year of us getting a bit more busier, there have been points whereby we've said...
It's been tougher.
It's been tougher, but I think with that, we've just learned a lot. So sometimes if it's not worth our while, we can't push it. We'll just tell you, I'm so sorry, I can't
do it.
And I think with that, I've also learned in terms of the universe, trusting other people to carry out that same job or giving it to somebody else. In the beginning, I always had the fear of, I don't want to give the job to somebody else. I want to have everything for myself.
Control.
But I think when a fellow Instagrammer did it for me in a sense of she couldn't fulfill a particular gig and she called me and said, I've referred the customer to you because I trust that you will do just as good of a job as me. That energy that I felt confident enough to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I remember when I did it to somebody else and to the lady back again, they'll thank you so much. And I felt the same happiness that I felt when that person initially referred a customer to me. So if it's a particular day that I can't do it, I'll tell you, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. But, I've got 2 people I trust that they can do X, Y, and Z for me. And then they're going to, the way with karma and everything, the same energy is going to be returned back to you.
Yes, I love that.
I think I referred somebody about 20 guests, maybe just like party food for 20 people. By the time the same energy came back to me, it was for 100 people.
Hey, come
and then from
on.
that gig, we got more referrals. So I think it's all about just doing good. So just knowing when to say no. If you know that you've got something planned, you can't shift it. Don't be scared in terms of giving it to somebody else. It will come back to you, I think, if you just have a good heart and stuff like that.
Abundance, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's always going to be more available for you.
There's going to be something else. So yeah.
Well,
I love
so
that.
the other thing I'd add is that in terms of it all, it's with experience, in terms of the work we're doing, it's getting easier. in terms of actually being in the kitchen. So the finding that balance in terms of the stress levels is getting better. So in the first year, we weren't as busy. Whenever we had an event, it was
learning it as well. You're like, what?
Skeleton, we're like proper. Like, now I'm finding that as long as we know that, let's say the night before, a few nights before, we've prepared everything. Everything's just kind of prepared. We go to the gig, everything's set. We know what we need to do at this time.
We brief the team and stuff like that.
Everything. This is what we need to do at this time. This is when it needs to go out. This is how the table's going to be set up. This is how everything's going to be plated. These are the risers we're going to use. The flowers we're going to use. When you get there, just kind of
just
fits.
easy.
It's so much easier. You come away from the event. You've been on your feet for 13 hours, but you don't feel like you've had to tear
your body's adjusted to that as well. Like, you know,
so everything's so much simpler now with experience. When we go to an event, there's no panic. Like that. We know this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it.
You got the experience now, isn't it?
So it's much, much better. Feels much nicer anyway. When you leave a gig. Even though you haven't really had time for yourself, it's a nice experience.
It's nicer.
Cause I get that. Like, it's when you learn anything new, you know, that initial, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. What do you mean? You got to take the stuff out now? And then after a while, it just becomes second nature. All right, cool, And then if something goes wrong, you've been there before, so you know exactly how to react.
We've done a 1,000-person. I think we had to deliver.
500.
Is it 500?
500.
Was it that church?
Yeah.
And that was ours.
That was insane.
I remember that.
Oh my God, that was like a factory.
But once you've done it, you know you can do it again. And from there, we've done weddings for 300, 400.
Keep on raising that bar.
We know we can do it.
Growth.
We know just how much food we need, how much of everything we need, how we're gonna do it now. So there's no whether it's 20 people or it's 400 people.
Yeah, you got the blueprint.
Yeah,
you got the blueprint. But I think it's an important point of just, you got to listen to your body sometimes, because I think one thing that I've experienced is almost burnout. There's times where you have burnout, and when you're in that stage of burnout, you're just not productive. You're not making impact. Quality falls, you know. So if you have that awareness, and like you were saying, having that love for, you know, just almost referring people, being like, I know 2 people, I trust them, I've got love for them, and I have this belief that it will come back to me. Not even it will come back to me, but I'm doing it just because. You know, I think that's a powerful message in itself. And I think it's a message that people should just have as individuals, you know, how to experience, you know, how to live and how to kind of identify when you're burning out, take time out, say no. That word, that 2-letter word.
It's a full sentence. It's
very, very important. You can't do it all. You can't be at 2 places at the same time and stuff like that. And it's just the ability to say no, you know.
And you can't take it all. Like, don't keep everything to yourself. I'm not going to share. And that's another side of it that I've experienced through like a number of people. People doing really well, but they don't want to share. They don't want to be like, this is what I've learned.
There's enough to go around.
Everyone can eat. Everyone can eat. Literally.
You have to be open to it.
On that point of everyone kind of sharing knowledge and being kind of really forthcoming and giving, if there were people starting out in this industry, what advice would you give them? Like, just the reality of life. So we've spoken about the good and the bad. What advice are you telling them? You know what, don't even bother. It's saturated. We don't want competition. Or is it like, you can make it. Hard work.
Just be ready to put your all into it.
Be ready to put your all.
Make sure it's something you really want to do. You know,
they say it's hot in the kitchen. So you gotta be ready
not to like.
Don't think it's just frying and steaming and boiling. There's a lot more that goes into it. I think, especially in today's age as well. We're living in a popcorn generation, sadly. So people's attention span is so short. People want to see, literally, some girls on Instagram, they were complaining recently about, you know, if you don't post on Instagram frequently or whatever, people are getting bored or they'll start complaining, oh, you haven't posted anything. It's not easy, especially when people are working 9 to 5 as well. There are a lot of people that they've got thousands of followers, they've got an amazing business, but they're still doing a 9 to 5 because they're not ready to let go of that security that you get from work.
Income.
But it's not easy. You know, you think of a caption, you have to do a nice picture, you have to take nice pictures as well. That means you need to know how to use your camera properly, props and stuff like that, editing skills, things
flat
like
lay, got the colour, the lighting.
this gradient, blah 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 blah
Aye,
blah. There's
come
so
on.
much that goes into just
For a photo that is liked
that
in
just one.
that 4 hours.
That's it, yeah.
And when's the next one coming?
You know, that's
Yeah.
If you don't post daily, people, you feel like people will start losing interest to you. So you have to keep on top of your social media
crazy,
as well.
innit?
And that in itself, it's
a lot.
job.
Yeah,
It's a
somebody
job.
recently
It's a job.
said, one of the girls on Instagram as well, that, I need to take some time out. I'm just tired and blah, blah, blah. And her food photography is amazing. But when I heard her say that, I was like, oof, and it must be deep. It must be really, really deep,
But yeah, it goes back to that point about well-being and just knowing when to say no. When to
say no. People underestimate the whole issue of mental health and like your state of mind, especially I feel like within the Black community as well. You look at it as like superheroes. Oh, mental health is not going to happen to you. Oh, you're fine.
You're strong.
You're strong. Yeah, but I'm a human being the same way he's a human being, and the way both of you guys are human beings as well. Sometimes you just need that little bit of a break as well. It's just about listening to your body, just like you mentioned as well. You have to
want
sleep.
You have to want it.
You have to
enough to put in that level of graft, because like I've explained to you, this woman won't go to sleep until 5 a.m. Sometimes maybe 6 a.m. and she will only sleep for 1 hour because we need to go. That's something you have to be passionate about to do.
It's only passion that can make you
To drive you.
I
She loves sleep.
runs in the family.
Yeah, it runs in the family, yeah. I'll sleep mum used to scream. I love sleep, but in my
1
mind,
p.m. on a Saturday.
I was just
Before
thinking,
we started the
day's
business.
done.
Yeah,
Before we started the business.
Yeah.
We would sleep Friday night at normal time about 11:30. Wake up at 1 p.m. on a
that's
Saturday.
right.
I don't know how.
Not brush my teeth, nothing.
I would have gone to gym, come back.
Lazy.
It's my weekend.
Literally, yeah, that's how we get. I'm sleeping.
Trust me. So, you have to
to.
basically make sure you want it. Think
Yeah,
about it.
I
Have
think
a
in whatever
real
sector
think
you
about
wanna
it.
get
Whatever
into.
sector you want to get into. If you really want it and you're really passionate enough about it, do the research. Be ready to put in that work.
Yeah.
Because it will ultimately be fruitful for you. But it's never going to be easy in the beginning.
definitely.
You have to hang in there.
Hey.
But yeah, in the beginning you have to want it.
Yeah, make sure you do your
You have
research
to
with
want
regards
it.
to like food
And it's non-stop. The research is non-stop.
food safety
Literally.
and stuff
Oh, yeah,
like that.
you gotta evolve in
Certifications
it.
as
It's
well.
non-stop, yeah.
You got yeah.
But I think that's the thing. Like, you can't think of, I'm starting this business. This is the product, and that's it. Like, you're gonna have to realize that you're gonna have to
Put yourself
evolve.
out there. People
You have to
never
adapt.
heard of SNACKATIZER.
Yeah.
Now we're getting people that they'll say, if we say, oh yeah, we already follow you.
Yeah,
They already know.
Yeah,
that was a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. I think we
They
did
already know us. They
we did
already
a
follow us.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did a fair end of last year, and we were just giving food to some people, and like a bunch of young girls came up. I can't remember their Instagram name. I'm gonna remember it in a second. And they're like, "Oh, we've been following you for a while, and we got inspired, and that's the reason why we're up now. Just chops, yeah, on Instagram." And literally, when they said that, it literally warmed my heart, because in my mind I'm thinking, we're thinking that we're still just small business on the
Small,
side,
yeah.
but somebody else is looking up to you and they're asking for inspiration. When we got
really
our
nice.
food
It's really
rating, when
nice.
we got our 5-star rating from the council, boop, 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 boop.
No.
That's when people came to us and said, I really want to do this, but I was so scared and this and that. Can you help me? And blah, 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 blah. So, we were able to like give out effective advice and direct people to the right website and stuff like that. If you need help with XYZ, then just call us and blah, blah, blah. So that's always a good feeling. But I feel like in anything that you want to do, find out the legalities of things that you need to do as well to ensure that you're on the right path. You don't want to cut corners and stuff like that. You don't want to get in trouble with the law, so make sure you're doing like all your tax stuff and any certificates that you need to take on, make sure you're doing it and stuff like that. And the main thing is just not being afraid to ask as well. Not being afraid to
Don't be
ask.
afraid. Never be afraid to ask, man. You're not gonna know everything.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be someone that you see out there that's doing amazing things.
Yeah.
But that level of research and speaking to people, that kind of thing, helps elevate you
Yeah.
to a different level, and that's how we got to where we are now.
Yeah, not on our own. Yeah.
You know what I picked up from what you guys mentioned? It's, I guess, this sort of aspect of a cycle. In that, how before you sort of mentioned you looked up to, was it Shola, yeah?
Yeah.
Shola, in terms of like her business itself, how
the
she's
work
grown,
ethic
that
is just,
development. And now people are looking at you guys as that sort of inspiration. People are coming up to you guys at events and saying, you guys inspire me. You guys are showing people the entire journey you've been through. And again, in your minds, it's like, okay, we're still growing, but other people are looking at you like, you guys are doing big.
Yeah.
We want to be like you.
And you're there like, I want to be like them.
I think for us, if I just draw on what you just said, I think the biggest thing that people do that I've noticed within like our community, family, friends, and people in the business is you guys are doing amazing as a unit. A lot of people tell you, I can't do this with my partner, my boyfriend, my husband, because he doesn't like being in the kitchen or he doesn't like food. So I think it works magically because of Ab's love for food and not cooking. And for me, just being, I would say I'm calm in the kitchen, but Abs will tell you something different. So.
No, there we go.
She's not. I can testify. She's not.
She's not calm in the kitchen. If I wasn't there, especially in the beginning, she's much calmer now. I think I've managed to get through to her. But in the beginning, my God, the first few events, this woman will be losing. Oh my God!
I don't want to do it. No, it's not.
And I'm just the one that's just being a calming. Like she was saying about a puff before, obviously, maybe in the first event.
Come out looking like dinosaurs.
Put it on, they came out looking like, what was it?
Like a dinosaur,
bean cake or something. Initially.
It had like a disabled, it just looked wrong. And I really
disabled puff.
Oh man!
Look, the oil is probably just not hot enough yet. Could be the pot.
He's the voice of reason.
So I'm like, just
relax.
Okay. He's the voice of reason.
Let's do this. Let's try this. Let's find a solution. And from there, we're starting to see that there's literally nothing we haven't been able to undo anyway so far. Whenever there's been a curveball, we just boom.
Yeah.
And
couple goals.
Yeah, fortunately, we haven't had any real complaints.
No.
So far, the feedback every time we do events now is really, really good. And that's just pushing us every single time, pushing us to just
good or bad,
continue to want to do more. Yeah. Of course, we're open to, any kind of feedback you can give us. But every time Wumi is saying, you know what, this is why, this makes it worthwhile every time.
You're doing it with, the same person you're going to go home with as well. And it's nice to have that sort of support. Because whatever affects me would obviously affect him as well. So that person has the same drive to ensure that the business goes that extra mile. If it's like a business partner or somebody that you're not too close to, if it doesn't go great, they're just going to be like, I'll just go into my life. But in Ab's mind, this is us. So if it doesn't work,
we want to do. You know, I mean,
I feel like
no one wants to be working 9 to 5. This is what you want to sort of retire on. Eventually, at some point. So Wumi knows as long as I'm capable and I'm able, I will be in the kitchen with her at most events. If I'm able to make it, it's for a good reason or whatever. But we have a team anyway, that kind of thing that we can always call out and reach out to. But I'm always in the kitchen with her. I'm here. She'll tell me she is the boss of the kitchen. She'll tell me what she needs me to do. That's right. Sometimes I've been there 6 a.m. cutting yam.
Oh, what?
Cutting yam. I'm there doing this. I'm helping her turn the puff and stuff like that. So just to make sure that she stays sane and we get everything done in an efficient manner. So I'm always going to do that. And I think it's helped us as well in terms of over our journey in this relationship, now marriage. It's helped us really get closer and everything as well throughout that time, because I am a part of that business as well. Yeah, I know she wishes I could cook, but I love it.
For Christmas, can I?
And I've noticed as well with a lot of the OGs in the business, MS Catering, Favor Catering, it's a husband and wife business. I've noticed, that I've noticed with those two businesses that I've mentioned, the woman is the one that's the face of the business. Yeah. Because she's easily, they're easily approachable and stuff like that. But I think when I've looked at pictures and I've spoken to these individuals on a personal flip as well, you'd be like, no, my husband's in the backside. He's doing everything, like the books and stuff like that. He's there in the kitchen helping out. So I feel like sometimes it does allow a group to sort of come together when they're unified in that way. It makes it extra special if your partner has the same interest as you, and then you guys just have that same.
Essentially, my job is to make your life easy.
That's right.
Easier, and yours is to make my life easier as well. So if
double standard.
So obviously, if the end goal, like I said, my passion is restaurant. We've started towards that. Once we do have set all those things in place, and we hit the sort of our business goals or our career goal in terms of that, then we're talking about being able to hopefully retire on that, which means my life gets easier. So whatever I have to do to make sure that happens in terms of helping her to push us to that level, I'll do it. So we're just trying to elevate each other, and fingers crossed.
Because one thing I have to say, like, you two come across as a strong team, and it's like, it's amazing and kind of inspirational in its own little right, because there's almost these elements where people say, you shouldn't mix your relationship with business
and pleasure.
How can you go into a partnership with them? And it's just like, how do you, because obviously, was there a moment, and let's be honest, was there a moment where you're like,
I'm just shifting in your seat. He's shifting in your seat. He's got his chest up, he's ready.
I'll answer that one. I definitely say it's difficult. Like, in the beginning when we first started out, there were times where Abs would come home chatting was. You're shouting at me in the kitchen. I'm not a kid, you know. Or in the beginning,
He's like, I'm not having it.
Yeah, remember who I am to you. Yeah, and I'm like, move. Or there was a time. I think there was a time I had all of my brothers. I'm talking all of my time while they went to an event, and my brothers were eating all the profit. I
can't remember any of this.
Lies.
I can't remember this.
They weren't do. I remember I was like, "Oh, I cut the plantain. Yeah, I'm coming." And I just saw their mouths moving. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I can't hurt them. If I hurt them, I've got no brothers left. My mom's gonna scream at me and stuff like that. So sometimes it is difficult. You know, there was a time we did a wedding. Was it this year? I look for Wale and my brother. Where's my brother's in the car eating? I'm paying you.
Lunch break.
Like, I'm on a break.
Lunch break.
I think even with like the negatives when it, you know, we've had like little shouting matches, you know, we'll get emotional. You know, the puff will get burnt because they're too busy screaming at each other.
Jeez.
In the same frame of mind, we're like, okay, do you know what? We're going to end up having to be in the car. We have to ride home 45 minutes together.
We're doing it.
You know, we're going, yeah. So, you know,
that's the main thing. It's never, we know it's potentially a heat at the moment. Like I said, I have to take, what's it called? Instructions for my wife, basically. She is the boss of the kitchen.
Yeah.
She tells me, cut that.
And the company.
Cut that. Yeah.
Just making sure you.
She is SNACKATIZER. When she tells me, cut that plantain, I have to cut it. That's it. I have to do it. Whenever she tells me, Abs, when you finish that, do that. I have to do it.
And I would always, I'd always put that level of respect on anybody that comes to.
You respect me in the kitchen?
Bruv, I do. Yes, I do.
Hey.
Yeah, I do.
You respect me in the kitchen?
Okay,
You had to
baby,
ask,
I do.
Okay.
You know, I always put that respect in because, you know, I know how it feels to be that person that's helping you to cut, to fry, to peel and stuff like that. And I want anybody that comes to work for us, work with us, to enjoy their experience.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't want to be the next. I want to be Gordon Ramsay, but not in a screaming match sort of way.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously, the people that we've come to assist us in terms of like family, the people that we've paid, you know, I'd always guide you and stuff because you may not know how to cut plantain the way I would like you to. So there's no harm in me saying in a nice manner and stuff like that, and you know, putting you on the right path.
Got much easier.
So I think it's all about,
it's got much easier.
Oh, it's much easier for you.
It's got much easier for you.
Yeah. Well, for me, yeah. Because I've learned a lot about myself in terms of my patience, effective communication as well, my delivery of words. You know, I may say, oh, you didn't cut this right. Doesn't mean I mean it in a bad way. But sometimes I've just learned over time. Maybe it's the way I would say it. You know, would I say it?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
I'll take it. Because in the beginning, Wumi could shout at me for nothing.
But no, look at the family that I've, you can, all I can tell you.
Yes, I can testify.
You could
I
breathe.
think there was one time, this is just, we were at home. I think she must have put, you put a fruit pot in the fridge.
Oh,
it's just fruit pot.
Please.
Strawberries, grapes, whatever.
Yeah.
There's other fruit in the fridge. I went into the fridge. I saw this fruit pot. I thought it was just fruit. I ate it as a normal individual.
Yeah.
She came, was it in the morning before work? She came downstairs. She went into the fridge. I eating it. She saw that. You ate the fruit pot. Started shouting. I was like, it's just fruit. We'll just cut another one.
Simple fruit.
It's a principle.
So I've kind of sat Wumi down before.
Yeah, he has. We've had.
Sat her down, you know.
I need to speak to you.
Look, we're gonna go far with this business. Yeah. We're starting to have staff now, which is something I never even thought would happen. We're gonna have staff members, right? You need to be able to talk to them in a manner that they will want to work for you. They will say, you know what, that's a pleasant individual. I want to come back here.
Effective
I don't want to
communication.
look for to look for something else. That kind of thing. And from that, I found that she's now much, much better. Not even just with me in terms of where, you know, not making a mountain out of a molehill or whatever. She's much, much better. So whenever we have people come work with us now, there's no problems. And I think that transition has helped us in the kitchen. Generally at events now, as I was saying to you, everything's getting much easier now. There's no stress. If we think, something's about to go wrong, we handle it. There's no, and that's helped us as well. Whether it's because obviously we're constantly working together, so we know each other, you know, better now. You know, we're able to feed off that
relationship as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like we're definitely able to feed off that, and you're definitely not the same stress head as you used to.
Yeah,
not the same. She'll stress me out in other ways. Generally speaking, business-wise, definitely. There's been a lot of growth.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool. Yeah, because again, of that point of not mixing business and pleasure in relationships, it's good because in a sense as well, as there's two people, you both have strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I realized that you guys really complement each other. So like you said, you're a lot better with HMRC, not running from letters, dealing with tax. Women's a bit better in the kitchen, and you mix those skills.
I heard that as well. I didn't want to pull you up on that.
Like, trying to run that again?
It's better.
Women's better in the kitchen. And like, you bring that together.
That's a little bit.
Like individually, it wouldn't necessarily be the same. You could both have done it individually, but it wouldn't have been what it is combined with both of you together.
Definitely.
Working on both your strengths. You know, you make up for where she lacks, she makes up for where you lack, and just combining that together with a relationship. It's just it's beautiful.
Yeah, from the beginning. Like I said, she knows I am the calming one.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be the hot.
She's like, okay.
Okay.
She's like, all right.
I am the calming one. Like,
Enough labels today.
Tell a shot.
I've never really seen
When this
the
camera
point in
finishes
panicking.
I know. I'm just like, when these guys get in the
When
car,
this
yeah.
camera finishes
She's like, why
running-
did you say that?
We drove here differently.
Okay.
Separate cars.
We came in separate cars. It's so good. Nah, I've always, like I said, I've always been the calming one. So I think, like Ahola said, we do complement each other in relation to that, and we take that on board in terms of in other aspects of life as well now.
Yeah.
So there's things maybe I'm too calm in handling, and Wumi's obviously maybe there's things that where she'll blow out of proportion and stuff like that. So we've learned a lot from each other in terms of that. I think business has helped in relation to that. So we've basically we've grown together, and we're getting the best out of each other now. I would say personally, and it's really, really going into the business, and you can see that in terms of how we're growing and how we're performing every time we have a gig.
Yeah. Would life be different if you didn't have Snackatizer? Imagine like now it closed down. Like what? Can you imagine that
Women would
feeling?
definitely be on top of her fitness.
More shots.
I would definitely say that because prior to
He's been waiting for this moment, you know. All I was saying, what happens when there's a void? That's all I was saying. He's like, yeah, I'm cool. This is what I want for Christmas. Gym membership.
Personal trainer.
I've never seen someone make so many excuses when it comes to going to the gym. Oh my god!
You can just tell. Look at his body. It's just like.
Who will tell you she can't go to the gym because she needs the toilet?
Oh man.
I need the toilet. I have to go home. I need the toilet.
I don't want to
She
talk
will
about
go.
it.
She will not go to the gym.
I'm busy.
That one time
Wow.
I walk into the house. I've been to the gym after work. She worked as well. She finished work. I'm like, what's with me? No, nothing. Finished gym. I enter the house. Open the living room door. Wumi's on the sofa, fast asleep. There's a bowl of Indomie. Eating on the floor.
Indomie
fast
noodles.
asleep. I'm talking, what time was it? Like 5 p.m.
I don't want to talk about it.
5 p.m. Comes home after work, eats noodles and goes.
Someone who worked hard.
Okay.
Long weekend.
And she'll go back to sleep in 13 hours.
You know, I
a day.
had McDonald's before we came here.
McDonald's. Oh god.
Big Mac.
Because like the only reason I was asking because it's become such a deep part of your relationship too, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
Because I feel like you might just create another business. That's the truth of it.
I don't know what else. I'm
What
only
would
good
we
at.
do if we didn't do snackers?
If we didn't do snack, I don't know. Nothing because I like food.
Yeah, as you said, it was something that came naturally to us.
Yeah, so I don't.
Trying to
There's,
think what else would come naturally
Yeah.
to us.
Apart from a family taking up the time, innit? Because it will be the time void. Because you used to spend on that time on. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah,
business.
true. Yeah, I guess so. I don't
we'll
know.
just go back.
It's not gonna happen. Don't worry. I'm just saying.
What would you do? We'll just go back to what we're doing before, going out for dinner,
Yeah, Netflix.
Netflix and chill. That's it. Yeah, because I can't think of anything else that I can sort of put. There's nothing else I love than to make people happy through food and entertaining people. So yeah, Abs just go back to just banging out gym more. He bangs out gym now. Like before we go, I need to go to gym before we go out. I need to go to gym, but it'll just there's nothing else because I feel like if you're gonna do
more time
anything in
for
this
gym.
life, you need to give it 110%.
Yeah.
And you need to love to do it. So that means in the good and in the bad, you know that that's what you like to do. So there's nothing else that I can envision that I do. It's not fashion, no YouTube channels, no makeup. I'm no Patricia Bright or nothing like that. So I can't really think of anything else. Yeah.
What about big goals? So like, what I'm aiming for you guys, you got a team, everything's all handled. You got a bit more time now. Like, what is the future plan?
Holiday. Travel the world. I definitely
term.
say I think the sacrifice of Snackatizer is that we haven't been able to go on as many holidays and do certain things that
think
so that's taken a
2 years ago, before we started,
we were just
went away like I think 5 times,
Yeah,
like 5 or
6
6
times.
times a year before.
Balling.
yeah, we were just going all over. We'll just be like, oh baby, I'm bored. Let's just go. Let's
Wow.
just do this, you know?
We're going away quite regularly. This year, where we went.
Nowhere.
Just your wedding, no?
That's just the wedding. Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Oh yeah, that one.
Oh, that trip.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I could definitely see you guys doing like branded products and events.
Yeah, I
like
think
branded like kitchen utensils
or something
then
like
like
that.
teaching
something
consultancies, like going to like restaurants, kind of like you said, the Gordon Ramsay thing. This is terrible.
No.
Who fried this puff puff?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Food clubs and stuff like
I
that.
would love that.
Just shout at people. Do it again.
Who is this?
Oh my
Like, it's not even, the door's not open yet. Relax. Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, we are certainly. I think we had the discussion recently. I think we've spoken about it a few times about putting something out there in terms of a platform to help teach people about how to make this particular
People have
thing.
inquired, so that's something I'm doing.
People are inquiring more and more that I want to learn how you do your puff puff. I want to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think I wanna
something
go
that's
into
in the
that.
works at the moment that we're thinking
brilliant.
about.
So 2020, keep your eyes peeled, guys.
Yeah.
Cooking classes, yeah?
Cooking classes, definitely.
Hey, I'll be down for that.
down for that, man.
I'll be down for that. Chef Anthony.
Inquiries are coming in thick and fast in relation to that. So we're taking that very seriously, and it's something that we potentially next year will be coming out. You know, once we finalize one or two things. Yeah.
So this year's focus is what, weddings, or what is it exactly this year's
Well,
focus?
we've done this first year.
Call it
First
2020 as well.
was a bit relaxing.
Yeah.
In terms of business wise, this year's been very manic. We've done quite a few weddings and so on. Next year, we want to go bigger.
Yeah,
Next year we've got a few. We have got bookings. Yeah,
we've
we've
got
got
a
lined
few
up.
bookings lined up already.
Yeah.
We want to go even bigger. We want a situation whereby every weekend is
There's something.
Yeah.
Every weekend we've got something
We've got
going on.
something.
We've got an event. We've got something.
I think the main goal is that more and more people are aware of us. I think it's been amazing to hear that. Oh, I've heard of you. I've seen you. I think the recent gig that we had from that, a lot of people were, I saw it on Snapchat, I saw it on Instagram. So I think it's for the brand name to go even further. And obviously, build up on things like, people wanting to learn how to make particular, finger foods and small chops and stuff like that. Going more into commercial and corporate events as well. I think, we don't want to take a step away from like weddings and stuff, but I feel like that's another field that we want to crack.
We're just breaking in. I mean,
breaking in.
Doing, through research, like I said, in terms of the grazing tables, that's something else that's just come up recently. It's not something that we had done before, that kind of thing like that. But it was just something that we thought, this is there's a market.
There's a market. There's a niche for it.
There's a niche here for it, and it's something that we believe we can do and execute quite well. And as you can see, obviously she's pulled that out of the bag as well. So there'll be more and more things like that. It's going to be coming up. Obviously, we'll remain innovative, and hopefully next year you'll see more and more of us.
Yeah.
The nice thing actually at the moment is that a lot of people are coming and saying, "Oh, my sister or my blah 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 said I want Snackatizer. I want them." I don't know, have you heard of us?
Word of mouth is powerful.
They're like, I want Snackatizer. They're the ones that want. Reach out to them. Like the planner will say, they said they want Snackatizer.
They want you.
So that's really, really nice for us, and we just hope for more and more eulogies like that. There's people coming forward and saying,
that's beautiful, man.
That
people see your value. People just see the good food. They hear about it. They're like, I want that. Got people crying. People almost burning themselves on hot oil just to get your stuff. Is the hot stuff here, man? Literally, that's amazing.
It's a great feeling.
It is a great feeling. It makes it all worthwhile. For sure. It makes all the grafting. Really, I mean, if you spend 13 hours of your day and then you go home and then someone says, "Nah, you know what? You guys are the bomb. You guys are like this and that." It makes you feel that you forget about the tiredness. Makes you want to go again. Wow. 13 hours, literally. So more of that. Fingers crossed.
I love it, man. Honestly, I loved hearing you guys' journey, everything you've been through, like sharing the knowledge, giving people like the reality. Oh boy, I've been there. I've seen it. No, it's been like honestly for me, it's like having that courtside seat. It's just been like, I've seen the growth. I've seen it from inception. I've been at events. I'm coming. There's one next week, isn't there? Soon, So I've like you said, front row. I've been there, and it's just been good to see the growth. And I see like so much more, like. Not using Jamie Oliver's latest example of sort of his failures, but looking at what he's done in terms of, he just started out as a guy who just enjoyed cooking. Went on TV, opened his first restaurant, started traveling around the world, filming himself cooking at other areas, brought out books, cooking courses, restaurants, corporate. Like he's dominated the entire and I can see not necessarily that, but a similar vein. Like you said, you guys are doing events. It started off small, 20 people doing weddings, and now you're talking about restaurants. You're going to be teaching soon, so I can see that. And like I said, like
there's endless opportunities,
honestly,
isn't there?
like, it's just
exciting.
It's
It's really
the world's
exciting.
your oyster.
Like echoing what Ola was saying, I remember back in Bristol, me and Ola were sitting in the car, and this is 2 years ago, and he was like, my sister's starting up her food company.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I can't remember what you were saying. You was like, oh, she said how to start or do something. You was asking him to help out in some sort of way. And then I remember, was it Obsidian's Networking, their first flagship? I was like, I'm actually seeing your business now, and I'm yamming the food. I was like, you got any more? The way the meat pies, they're gone. They're gone. We yammed it quick.
It went so quick.
It went so quick, but it was so delightful just to see that as well. That
Yeah.
okay, you finish work, you're quickly running to this place or whatever, and then to see the delight on people's faces and stuff like that, and the feedback, the guys were amazing as well, and then it just kind of gave another spur as well. Then you'd have people on Instagram message, you guys are doing amazing, and I wish I could do this, and I wish I could reach out to this, because some people, I've noticed, some people are stuck. J. Cole talks about small town mentality. They're stuck to that particular field in like South London or East London or catering to a certain sort of niche of people. But we want to reach everybody, not just people within our community as well, people outside of that as well. So that also means doing research in terms of food that can touch on different, think deeps, and food that can touch different people's palates and flavors. So maybe sometimes not all of our chicken wings is going to be extra spicy, because you want to be able to do a corporate event in the
Scotch
office
bonnet,
sector.
Sometimes lemon and herb.
So it's just about doing a lot of research as well, and it's all about the end goal and widening that horizon as well.
What was that line by J. Cole?
Small town mentality or something like that.
That's a
it
big
talks about,
thing, man.
But he just talks about not being stuck in the same place, that you have to, talking about Dreamville, not Dreamville, like the place that he came from, and just like taking your mind out of it as well, and just like,
because I experienced that quite a lot, especially from like our sort of community. It's very, we keep ourselves contained into our own little market. It's very small thinking, knowing and then like there's this endless possibilities. You can reach out to a different market.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think everyone needs to just kind of believe. But obviously we need people like you setting that path to show that path can be walked as well.
True.
And that's another important element to see other people who's like, all right, cool.
It's nerve-wracking in the beginning, but once you start it and you start seeing that you
got
can
that
actually
fire.
do it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'll give credit to Ola actually, because he was one of the first few people that kind of kept pushing us.
Yeah.
He's always asking, so what's next? What are you guys doing?
Man, like,
You need to do a fair. You need to do this.
Yeah.
There's this
I like
fair
that.
that's going on
Because
here.
he's the one that came to us about the taster.
Yeah.
So what you guys doing? You need to do it.
Yeah, you need to do it. Come on, guys. Well, like, helped us with planning.
Yeah. Come
Yeah,
on.
Because I see it.
Honestly,
I'm not even trying. I genuinely see, like you said, that globe. I'm like, no, these guys have the sauce, and it's food. Like, you got this. I'm telling you.
Have you got shares, Ola?
Sorry.
Have you got shares?
Not yet, man. Not yet. Don't worry, I'm coming.
Put that in, man.
10%.
Put that in.
It's not really easy.
I
I think in terms of culture as well, I think when we first started out, when we spoke to mum and dad, my parents are like very, very old school. They think of anything to do with kitchen, you're just stuck in this one small place. So when we said, we're running catering business, small chops, dad was laughing. What do you mean?
Big
You
pops.
and Bolade say people about job people are joking, or mum is kind of like, oh, what do you mean you're stuck in the kitchen doing what? So I think when they start to see the growth, every time they'll call, I want to come and visit you, come to the house and say hello. I'm like, I'm busy. I'm at a gig. Abs is here. He's cutting plantain. Or, she'll look in the boys' room and the boys have dissipated. Now we're going to go help our sister. Then they started to see that, do you know what? Yeah, these kids, they're not playing. So now they call businessman.
Yeah. They believe.
And I think until mum sat me down, she said, I'm really proud of you guys. She said, I want to work for your company. I want to, I want to come and see it. And my mind, I was thinking, next time we do an event or something like that, or a food club, that I'll definitely want to bring mom and dad along, so that they can see exactly
what it's all about.
What it's all about. It's not no joke. I think even Ab's parents have seen it as well. That all my days,
my mom has been lucky enough to
to see
to be at one of the events, and she
was like, wow, I'm super duper impressed. Props.
Like, they don't take, like, it's almost as though they didn't believe it until they saw it.
And I think
they're
it's
like,
that
wow,
old school
okay.
mindset.
They thought it was small.
Yeah,
They thought,
They
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
how they're joking, they're just frying chicken wings. It's just
that's easy. Yeah.
You start seeing the growth on what makes me smile actually quite a lot is if you go to our Instagram page, if you go to the bottom, if you just go to the bottom and see where we started and sort of where we are,
pictures.
the quality of the pictures, even the logo
Yeah.
from when we started and that, it just brings a smile to my face because it's just like, wow, a lot has happened, literally. And it's, like I said, it's all down to this woman. She's just constantly on it, on top of it. It's amazing to see, honestly.
Yes, I love
It's
that.
amazing.
I find one again. Just another sort of appreciation is that I've noticed as well. Wumi and Abs, I guess you guys have been good in sort of employing family as well.
Yeah.
So extending it, not just kind of, not that there's anything wrong with it, but kind of saying, you know what, we have family members, cousins, relatives who are in need of money. They want that support. They want that experience. They've got summers where they're not doing much, and you're sort of like, look, do you guys want to earn a bit of extra cash? And like you said, you've seen the messages they've sent after because they've really appreciated it. And I'm like, you know what, I like that because from that I'm just like, you know, if I ever do anything, that's my in. I've got family, you know, before I kind of pull it out to the wider audience, it's actually family. Who is interested? Who wants to make a bit of money? And
I think it's about pumping into your industry as well. So when it comes to things like looking for agency staff, I look around at Black-owned businesses. There are a few that I'm in touch with on Instagram, off Google as well, where it's literally just like young kids in uni, college or whatever. They're just looking for work. And I think it hits closer to home because I've got my own personal experience in terms of our last born. So, you know, he's off in uni and stuff like that. And summer, he was like, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I can't be bothered, I just want to play PS. And I was like, you know what, come along. I would never take advantage because I would have hoped that if I was his age and, you know, I had that opportunity that the person would pay me. So I think I was like sincerely impressed when, you know, we gave him his wage at the end in a little envelope and he was like, oh yeah. You know, but he worked hard, he cut everything, he fried stuff, he served food as well, to the point whereby he must have messaged in our group chat, in our family group chat, like, yeah, you got any gigs going on? And the same with my cousin as well, our blood cousin. I think I took him along to a gig and I said, you know, this is what you're going to do. I gave all of them a brief, sat them in the beginning, this is what you're going to do, XYZ. If you have any issues, call me, blah 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 blah. Then he messaged me the next day, thank you so much, says blah, 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 blah. If you've got anything else, I'm your guy. You know, and that in itself is very, very encouraging. I think if you treat the youth of today very, very well, they'll always be readily available to want to help you and stuff like that. But it starts at home and it starts us supporting Black businesses. So in terms of like our logos from a Black business, the agency stuff, when my family members are not available, are Black owned and stuff like that. Certain props are Black owned. So I think it's just about pumping back into our community as well. And that's the only thing that will encourage people to want to do what they want to do as well. So yeah, it's just about, you know, if you bring somebody along and they've stayed with you for 6-7 hours, it's only right that you pay them. You pay them. Give them a nice meal after as well, because that's the only reason why they would want to come back and work for you or do things for you.
That's the feel of it because especially as you touched on it, where it's family and stuff like that, they can come and they won't feel like they're employees or anything like that. They just come, this is my sister, this is my cousin or whatever. They'll come, they willingly want to do stuff for you, they want to help you out and stuff like that, and they know that they're going to get fed, and we're never going to overwork anyone because we're working together as a team. I would do the same thing as them. I'm there, I'm a husband. I would do the same thing as them. She doesn't pay me. Put on record. I'm not getting paid. I would do the same thing as them, get my hands dirty, blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, everything's gone smoothly because we've all sort of put in that effort into it. And at the end of the day, they'll always say, nah, that was good, I actually really enjoyed that. They've eaten, they've drank, they've worked, and they want to come back again. And they've got experience. And we tell them, put us down on your CV,
some of them have reached out for like reference and stuff.
Why not, man?
I love that.
I think that's a real important thing. There's two sides to it. So there's the aspect of it's your family is gonna, or your close family, cousins, whoever, will go further than regular employees. It's love. It's just a bond. And the second thing is the creation of opportunities and experience. I can remember back in when I was 16, 18, you haven't got enough experience. You haven't got anything really tangible on your CV for me to take you on. Depending what industry these people are going to go in, they can put you down. They could have worked for you 2 years ago, but they can easily say 100%, we worked for SNACKATIZER for 2 years. The reference, you're like, they did jobs here, they done this. You could tailor it. If they're going into events, you could be like, they were responsible for the event. They did this. They did the brand. Or you can, you know, tailor whatever job they're doing to have those little aspects to
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Real
Which I think
important.
is what one of them are doing already. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah. man.
No, brilliant, man.
Amazing.
I love that. No, I think, yeah, we again loved everything you guys said. Love your journey, and you guys are definitely going to go far. We'll probably bring this episode to a close, but I guess before we end, are there any sort of final messages you want to give out to, you know, people who've used your services, do people join in, just to sort of round it all off before you plug, of course. Gotta do that
Book
stuff.
SNACKATIZER. Book us. I'm trying to think.
No, essentially.
Could just be
it's
a
just a
thank you,
general
yeah.
thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally
Yeah,
just
thank you for
general-
anybody who's ever like entrusted us. I don't know, a special shout out to Antonia of Tony Events.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hola. Okay.
Yeah, and my brother. She's the person who gave us our first wedding, and from there, we had a customer that we did a baby shower for, and then from there, that's when everything kicked off. We didn't have any history whatsoever. We had no evidence of us doing a wedding or a party or nothing. It was literally just, I think I just used to cook food and take pictures, and then me and Abs would end up eating it. So I'm grateful that there was somebody out there that, you know, just saw something. She spoke to us. We had an amazing conversation. I like your energy. Do you know what? I'll entrust you to take on this wedding of 150 people. You know? So I think it's just about, if you know that this is your particular passion, give it your all, 110%. If you give it your all, then good will definitely come back to you as well.
Essentially, if you've ever used our service, you know sort of how we work, essentially, and you know what we put into it. So just want to thank you, essentially, and hopefully you keep remembering us. And you have your events and, you know,
like
new
that.
customers as well. Just please, you know,
A
we're
massive-
there, we're at your service. So
A massive thank you to the people on Instagram as well. I think it's an amazing platform for small businesses that are trying to grow as well.
Definitely,
A massive thank you to the people that we've reached out to for like help and for advice, and, you know, them being so open. A lot of people, if they really wanted to, they could have withheld the information, you know, for the fear of, they're going to nick my idea, or I don't want them to be bigger than me. But a lot of people have been so selfless, and we're super duper grateful. And what we want is for everybody to grow all together, you know. So
there's more than enough
there's
space
more than
for all
enough
of us.
space, and I think
More than enough
that's
space for
constantly
all
been
of us.
drilled within the Black community, that there's enough space for everybody. You could be doing the same nail varnish style as your sister or whatever, but there'll be something unique about what you're doing. And I think it's just about, just like, if you're in a particular industry, just keep on motivating the people around you.
Yeah, we can all eat at the same table. That's
Yeah,
how I
that's-
say. We
yeah.
can
I
all
love
eat
that.
and be full at the same table.
Yeah,
So,
you
know.
just be patient. Your time is coming. Don't look at somebody's journey and think, I want to get there, and this. Don't be disheartened about where you are. You're going to get to that place. I think it's just a matter of time and hard work as well. The tears, the screaming, the sleepless nights will all be worth it in the end. I think it's just about having that end goal.
I love that. I love
yeah,
that. And where can people find you, man?
Plug. You find us on Instagram, so SNACKATIZER. You find us somewhere on Twitter as well. You can always drop us like a DM. Our phone numbers are available on our social media platforms as well. We've got our email address, and we've got a website coming out hopefully by the end of the year as well. So you'll be able to find our prices, all our packages, everything, and more about us. So, but yes,
Lovely.
yes.
And you do what? Weddings?
Oh, we do everything.
Everything.
Boy, we do everything. So we do weddings, birthday parties, corporate events, just everything, all rounder. So nothing is too big, too small for us. So we do it.
Seafood.
Bold statement.
Nothing is too small for
seafood,
we cater for everybody, vegans, vegetarians. Like, we hold no barrels. Like, literally, we do everything. We do it all. So
Gluten-free
That's how-
coming soon as well.
It's scary. It's a big world. Gluten-free is scary, but we do it all.
No, amazing.
So halal, all of that stuff. So,
Okay.
Everything.
Yes. I love this. I love this. No, brilliant. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for joining us as always. And our listeners, again, thank you all for listening. As always, we always appreciate all the listens, and you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, tagmeinpodcast.co.uk. So we can be emailed at info@tagmeinpodcast.co.uk.